Hey everyone, I'm Cristina Valenzuela and this is my teaching philosophy. It is not what is poured into a student that counts, but what is planted. That is what I instill in me as stated in Linda Conway's book, A Teacher is Better Than Two Books. To be able to have a tree with good fruit, we should do something special to take good care of the roots, so that when the time comes, those roots will grow into what they should and what we want them to be. Mostly, first day is a critic day, wherein students might be our audience and we, the teachers, are the performers. At some point, I call it a test day. This is for the teacher and students who meet themselves for the very first time. Expect the awkwardness and thrill, but remember, a teacher should set the mood in the class. Just like entertainers, we as a teacher should know what is our identity and our students' major identity so that we will have the idea of getting their attentions that last until you leave the classroom in the face-to-face setup and listen to you until the very end of your synchronous session in an online learning setup. Since not all students, even teachers, do not have the same background as before. I come up with 5 F's as my guide to handle my students. Whether you enjoy it or get an F grade. Just kidding. The 5 F's are fun, fundamental, feasible, feedback, and formative. First is fun. I always wanted my students to be happy and enjoy learning, especially because I am a mathematics teacher. They are always saying that math is fun. So adding some kind of fun elements such as puzzles, logics, and other games which requires critical thinking skills that is related to the content that I'll be discussing, or anything that is fun. Even just a lively discussion that can caught their attention and interest will be my top priority because I believe that students' attention is important for successful learning because it plays a key role in memory and the mechanisms that ensure successful retention. Next is fundamental. There are a lot of students who do not know what are the basics in mathematics and where do the formulas come from. Learning fundamentals helps students to gain wisdom to see the big picture. So teaching them some fundamentals might help them to learn the complicated things in mathematics. Learning the foundation is easy, especially before starting to learn the hardest ones. Then the feasible. Why learning in a complicated way when there is a practical and convenient or easiest way? Teaching them in a feasible way is also an efficient and effective way of teaching because the students will find mathematics enjoyable and at the same time easy. Fourth is feedback. Knowing what my students' feedback can also really help me to improve my teaching styles and can change my pedagogical approach if necessary. I believe that the feedbacks of my students are important because I can use it to know what they think of me as their teacher, whether my strategies in teaching are effective to them or not. Lastly is formative assessment. Having formative assessment, especially after the class, is so important because it is like telling them that I value what they work for. And it is nice to have this kind of assessment before letting my students to leave the class because it helps me identify the concept that the students are struggling to understand, skills that they have difficulty of acquiring, or learning standards that they have not yet achieved so that adjustments can be made to lessons, instructional techniques, and academic support. In teaching, there is always be some factors that influences and affects the students' learning. We cannot deny that around the world there is always diversity, especially within the students. We should not just focus on one approach for every students that we have. Everyone, we have our goal that no students should left behind. We, the teachers, should be flexible to apply different techniques, strategies, and applicable approaches that somehow touch everybody's lives without trampling others' beliefs. As what we are experiencing right now, diversity promotes depth of knowledge and gives students and teachers exposure to new cultures, different historical figures, and alternative texts. It is common at schools to affect the quality of education as it has direct impact on students' performance because of discrimination. On this take, we have to end diversity and start inclusivity because education is for all. This is to stop the discrimination among the students, especially those children with disabilities. Inclusivity, quality education means that all children, regardless of the physical, intellectual, social, emotional, and linguistic abilities, learn and participate equally and effectively, in safety and free from gender bias. In order to do that, the pedagogical approach is important. In teaching, I will be using different methods such as synthetic method, which starts from the known to the unknown, and the problem-solving method, which is the common method that mathematics teacher is doing, which is giving some problems for the students to solve. Hands-on learning using hands-on activities improves long-term memory, understanding, and critical thinking, which is very useful in learning mathematics compared to memorization strategies. Differential learning, wherein students learn their own ways, I believe that teachers have to cater all the learning preferences in the classroom so that every student gets the best instruction as possible. Project-based learning, which give the learners a chance to think of complex problems and identify real-world solutions. Discovery learning, which is implying that I should not spoon-feed my students. This will help them to think critically because they will be the one to find the solution to the problems. Oral recitation, which might be able to help them with the integration of B.F. Skinner's theory, the operant conditioning theory, or the positive reinforcement, wherein a response or behavior is strengthened by rewards, leading to the repetition of desired behavior. And lastly, collaborative learning that can help my students to socialize with others and communicate with them and work as a team, which enhance their listening skills. As a mathematics educator, I know it would never be easy to teach students the most hated subject in the school. But I believe what they were used to in learning mathematics will never be the same again. Both now and in the future, I want to make teaching more like that of teachers who influence me the most. Engaging, deeply personal, challenging, disciplined, and far more than just a classroom experience. Through continued infusions of new ideas from research literature and from colleagues, a positive attitude, a spirit of innovation and experimentation, a genuine care for students themselves and their ideas and dreams, I hope to move closer to that ideal each day. And that is my teaching philosophy. Have a great day and thank you.